This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the Buffalonian division of the Castsource Podcast Network, a podcast network built by Buffalonians for Buffalonians, featuring the Wings of Blue Cheese podcast and the Buffalonian Podcast, with more shows on the way very soon. Find these shows wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or simply visit our website posted in the episode description. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Bills, Sabres, hot takes, and more. The Buffalonian Podcast. All right. Let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, back at the 1 o'clock slate here this weekend. Bills are playing a football game at Highmark Stadium against the deflating New England Patriots, the Deflatriots, 1-5 on the season this coming Sunday. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I mean, coming off that rough Giants game last week, right? I mean, a win's a win, as we said, as the episode title on Tuesday was. A win is a win. But what do the Bills need to do in this matchup to really be like, okay, we're back? Like we're not going to let the Giants just manhandle us and Tyrod Taylor dot up and throw more yards than Josh Allen, you know?
Well, I think they need to just kick the Pats. You know what? I think that would be the easiest way of putting it. But I think they just need to. I think throughout the week they've been talking about finding their rhythm earlier in games. It felt like they found it really late against Jacksonville.
Yeah. I mean, I have a theory about that, though. I think it's because it was getting close to noon warm-up time if it was a 1 o'clock game in the States. So
whatever with that theory. But
they woke up.
Yeah, they found it in the second. Obviously, in the second half, they played a really good rhythm. They were ahead of schedule. I think really the problem with the Bills in the first half against the Giants or Jacksonville is that they just were not consistently winning first down and second down.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. It was penalties. It was, incompletions, especially in the first half against the Giants. I believe Josh finished 19 of 30, and I think he had the one incompletion to Dawson. So he had 10 incompletions in the first half. That's just not efficient football.
Not at all.
So I think that's the thing for the Bills that they have to improve upon. We saw against Washington them playing with great rhythm. Las Vegas, they played with great rhythm.
Miami,
the whole game they played with great rhythm. Even I would say at times against the Jets, they played with really good rhythm. It was the fact of they just made a lot of stupid boneheaded plays in that game, and that's how they lost. But
yeah,
even that they were at least getting something. They had the short passing game going, they had the running game going at times as well. They had a couple negative plays and some sacks and some turnovers. So that wasn't really a pretty game. But even in that game, they found some rhythm and had 13 points before halftime. The Bills the last 2 weeks have scored 7 points in the first half.
Yeah,
that's not good. That's not it's just not good enough. And what they need to improve upon is offensively. They need to find the rhythm. Also, they just have to be. I think this is a collective coaching staff and everything. They just have to be smarter managing the game a little bit. I haven't loved how they've been managing these games, and we talked about it on the pod and in field position. They just didn't seem to have a consensus on it. They were going to kick 50-yard field goals, and then they started 50-yard field goals, and then they started missing 50-yard field goals. I mean, with the two turnovers,
it's like they switched earpieces. They were talking to the wrong person. That's what it seemed.
Right. I mean, with the two missed field goals and the 2 turnovers, the Giants had, like, 4 possessions where they started really close to midfield, like, within, 10 yards of midfield pretty much,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and that's not good, like, I mean, that takes 40 yards away from what they have to drive, so
Yeah.
I think for the Bills, it's more of, like, you have to manage the game better because I don't feel like New England has the offense that could go 80 yards in 10 plays, and I don't really think they have a big playability, but could they put together a 8-play, 50-yard drive and score a touchdown? Absolutely. Like, every
Mhm.
offense in the league, as bad as they are, can do that. So I think the Bills have to do a better job this week of taking care of the ball and making sounder field decisions. I don't know.
Yeah. We hope McDermott grabs the right headset this week, you know? So, here's the thing, though. You mentioned getting into a rhythm. We've gotten into a rhythm with Buffalo Pepsi here. I used a different hot sauce today. If you can't tell, it's not as like I used Frank's Red Hot, which you're
It
supposed to
looks a
use.
little oranger, to be honest with you, but it
It's
doesn't look
it
as it looks a little clearer, I would say.
it's clear. It doesn't break up and turn into like it doesn't curdle, right? So Frank's Red Hot's the way to go. It's actually like orange Pepsi though. You know what I mean? So I guess this could be we could see an improvement with this. Like I have no like this could be
The rating
oh,
could go up.
the rating could go up because I didn't use it's not the buffalo sauce. It is buffalo sauce, but it's not like the one mixed with butter and all that. You know what I'm saying? So like I think we'll be better off, but I'm going to dink it and sink it because we've gotten into a rhythm of the Bills winning games with that happening. So it's still horrible. It's arguably spicier because it's not all at the top. It just keeps going.
It has that consistency.
Yeah. No, it was better this week, I would say. I think I'm going to keep going with Frank's Red Hot if they continue winning. That's got a steady burn all the way down, though. I will say this is very different. This is a whole ball game here. So, hey, you know what?
So,
I'll bump the
should
rating up a point. I don't know what I gave it before,
it's
but
like a 4, so it's a 5. Should we expect you to turn your camera off seriously at one point and grab, like, a jug of water and just start chugging?
no, I don't have any water with me, unfortunately, so that's not even an option. And
Mm,
I'm in the office space right now, so it's like just kind of
that's tough.
I'm locked in. So I got
Dialed in is what I'm saying?
dialed in, but yeah, Frank's Red Hot wings seem to work pretty well. So give her a
Dang.
go. But got to
Well,
keep the good juices flowing, good hot sauce flowing until they lose a game when we do it, and then throw it out the window. So
I'm just stunned. I'm truly just stunned that this is their last 1:00 game for the foreseeable future.
for the season, right? Or is the last
I think
Patriots
the
game 1
last
o'clock?
I think the last Patriots game was 1:00, I
That's
think.
right. You forget the Patriots are such a dumpster fire like the Bills were back then. They're going to get all 1 o'clock games pretty much. So I mean,
And I'm just gonna make this note right now.
mhm.
I think there is a real chance that the Bills play the last regular season game of the year. They play week 18 in Miami. I
Oh,
think there's a I think
that's
there's a
TBD,
real
right?
let me look that up actually, because I think
Because
I
if
don't remember. I
it's
actually don't
TBD,
remember. I
I
think
think
it
that's
is.
right.
I think you're right. Because I couldn't remember if it was what's TBD? The Chargers game's TBD.
Yes, that
Because the
game's gonna be
Chargers
good
game
though.
might be that's a Saturday game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, listen, if especially that game, Dom, if it comes down to the wire,
Yeah,
like
here
for
are the
the
times.
East,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah. Here are the times. So 1:00 tomorrow. I'll also note, Joseph and I had a scheduling conflict, so we're doing this a Saturday, so we actually know who's
yes,
out this week.
yes, yeah.
Um,
We have the injury report. Look
yeah,
at
we
that.
actually have
Can you
like
believe it?
so they play Thursday night, then Sunday night, then Monday night, then 4:25 Sunday. They had the bye. I know they don't have the bye yet. 4:25 Sunday, then bye. 4:25, 4:25, 8:00. Oh, that already is officially 8:00 Saturday night. Okay, I didn't know that. That is
The Bills Chargers.
the Chargers game says it's December 23rd, my brother's birthday. He's turning 25 that day. It's already 8 p.m. Huh, I thought they had to flex, like, maybe that could be flexed out, but I doubt they flex it.
I doubt.
Uh,
I doubt as well because I mean you have Josh Allen playing Justin Herbert. You know what I
you're
mean? Like
right,
there's no
though.
way.
You're right. So the Patriots game on New Year's Eve, December 31st, is 1 p.m. So that's the last
1
1
p.m.
p.m. game. the Bills Dolphins is TBD on January 7th. So
that will be, if it's coming down, and this game depends on, like, the AFC East standings depend on who wins this game, who's at the top. This game's
everything's
going prime
TBD.
time.
Oh, okay. I didn't really realize they did that now.
What, everything?
Every game is TBD on week 18.
Right, because they're probably gonna wait till the end of the season to figure out and be like,
Well,
okay,
no, I know that. I just like that was smart because they always used to have times for those games. I was like, all right, the Bills are playing 4:00 in Miami on week 17 back in 2017 to play the drought, but that was a 1 p.m. game. They moved it.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called though? No, as long as the Bills are with a game of Miami, and the Jets and Patriots aren't ahead of them in the standings.
I don't foresee that happening. I mean,
I don't foresee that happening. But as long as they're with a game for Miami, that will be for the division because they already beat Miami. So if they would beat them again, they would have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be potentially for the division. And oh my god, of course I X out of the freaking tab, and I didn't check to see if there was any other like good games in week 18.
Oh,
brutal on my end. That was a brutal decision.
Well, I mean, listen, the Bills Dolphins, that's going to be. I think the Bills Dolphins are going to be within a game. I think it'll give and take throughout the season, though. Dolphins might drop a game. Bills might take. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see it bounce back and forth a couple times. It's going to come down to that last game.
Dude, the games suck in week 18.
Do they? What are we looking at? Betting on the Bills week 18 might just be Bills Dolphins.
As everyone knows, they're all divisional matchups. The Cowboys don't even play the Eagles.
Jets Pats.
Yeah, it's Jets Pats is one. The Rams Niners, Bucks Panthers is not going to be for the division. Falcons Saints maybe for the division. I don't know. Browns Bengals, Chiefs Chargers, like
Browns Bengals. Joe Burrow could drop a game before the end of the season.
I don't know, man. There's really not that many great games Jags Titans could if the Titans are going to tank. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
betting on the Bills week 18 is going to be a short episode. It's going to be just about the Bills Dolphins game.
Yeah, I feel like the Bills Dolphins. I really do believe that the Bills Dolphins is the betting favorite to be the Sunday Night Football game by a similar margin. But
yeah, more like minus like 100. Like it's right up there. Like it's.
I don't think it's a complete lock yet, but yeah, I mean, come on out. But back to the game because we got epically distracted.
Yeah,
shocker. I love how Joe tells me we had to cook here and we had to be productive, and then we just go on a what was that 8 minutes of
8-minute tangent on week 18. Yeah.
But here you go. Listen, it was entertaining, but
back into content.
Speaking more of the game, obviously New England, it's a tough place to play. The Bills have found a lot of success in New England, especially the last 3 years. I think they're on a 3-game winning streak in New England.
Yeah.
2020 they won.
Where we thought Isaiah McKenzie from the slot receiver too.
Yeah, they won 38-9 in 2020. 21.
It was closer in 2021 because
21 they won by, I think it was 35-23, and then 22 last year was like 24-7. That game was so boring. That was a Thursday night football game.
Yeah,
this year. So I think it's so weird. You don't want to underestimate the Pats. It's like, you know what? I think the Giants was a really great thing for this football team because the Giants, I feel like, I'm not saying, they get paid too and the Bills say the right thing, but I think everything going into that game, I think the Bills expected to play a lot better than they did, and for them to play like crap, I think it actually ends up, and at least getting a win too. I think that's going to be a really good thing because I think going into this week, it's a similar kind of concept of this team sucks. Like, it's straight up. Like, this offense is terrible. It is the worst offense in the entire National Football League. And the defense is solid, but they lost Matt Judon, their best pass rusher. Josh Uchain, talking about the injury report, is out. He always used to kills the Bills. He's not playing. Christian Gonzalez, their number one corner, who was playing lights out as a rookie, injured his shoulder, and he's done for the year. So, like, I don't know, man. The defense still has a lot of dudes on it, but this is a team that the Bills should dominate. And I don't know if they will necessarily because it's a tough divisional game. It's a road divisional game. It's kind of always in a weird sense. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just glad they're not 15.5-point favorites because that was clearly just like I don't know. I was looking at bets to place on that game. I lowered it to the Bills being plus 13.5 or something like that. Because then, but not that it even happened anyway. I lost money on it, but like 15.5. They got to score 3 touchdowns. And I don't know, Dable knowing that team was a little iffy. But, I mean, looking forward to the Patriots, you're right. A lot of their good defensive starters are out. They're not playing. So this should be a bounce back game where the Bills, it's a confidence builder game. Like they should pick them apart. Allen's shoulder has not seemed to be a problem at all. I mean, he's been listed on the injury report. X-rays came back clean, like all that stuff. There's nothing to worry about there. Just landed on it funny, but
talking about the injury report real fast.
Yeah, the ticker's on the bottom.
The Patriots have 16 people that are questionable. I'm just gonna say that now. I would bet that they go 16 for 16 there. That's just my personal opinion, but I mean, who knows? Obviously, we talked about Josh Uche being out. Keon White, another defensive end, is out, and then Riley Reif, an offensive tackle, is out. So
yeah,
good opportunity for the Bills, as we said. That the Bills trenches have always been kind of a question mark at times, but that's nice. Damien Harris got moved to IR. Ty Johnson,
4 weeks,
yeah, Ty Johnson, a little bit of a similar back, I would say, to James Cook in the fact that he's an explosive back. So maybe that's a good pace because Latavius Murray has been so effective at kind of
the Damian Harris-esque up the middle punch run. You know
that's
what I
I'm
mean?
saying. Like, I feel like Latavius Murray kind of, I don't want to say make Damian Harris expendable because obviously, like, the injury he suffered and he's helping the team, but it kind of like Latavius Murray took all those reps from Damian Harris, and Ty Johnson could maybe gain some reps from James Cook's.
Depending on how things go, you never know.
And I think my concern, it's weird. A lot of people, I will say this. This is my one thing about the offense that I think is easily defendable, and I find incredibly annoying that people complain about, is a lot of people complain that James Cook was known as the receiving back out of Georgia, and the Bills just don't use him in the passing game. And I agree. I think the Bills should find a way to maybe use him more in passing.
Yeah, scheme him open in the passing game.
It's never like the Bills have never been a good screen game team. They're just freaking horrific at it. For an offense as good as the Bills have been for the last couple of years, holy heck, they can't run a screen game.
And we've talked about that. They get lucky on every so often, like a good screen pass. That's it. There's no consistency.
I will say this: James Cook is god awful in pass blocking. Like, he is terrible in pass protection. I think I saw in PFF he's like the third lowest graded running back in pass blocking. And Latavius Murray is like in the top 10, I want to say. That is the reason why you see Latavius Murray out in passing situations. Like, as annoying it is for people that play fantasy football, like, that's the reason why Latavius Murray is the goal line back, is because he's more of that fits his style. And that's the reason why Latavius Murray is out in passing situations. It's because the Bills can trust Latavius Murray to keep Josh Allen clean from blitzers. How many times have we seen it? I mean, the Miami game, you saw it in a couple of times in the Giants game as well. James Cook just whiffs on a blitz on a pickup, and yeah, he gets a piece of him, so he slows him down, and Josh can maneuver around, but that's pressure. You know what I mean? That throws off the play. So that's my one caveat with the running back situation. I love James Cook. James Cook is a really good back. But until he learns to be an effective pass blocker, he's not going to earn the pass reps. And that's what he has to improve on. That's his biggest weakness of his game.
Right. That's what you're missing there. And you're right. Latavius Murray's he's played on 6 other teams. He's been effective. He's nonstop effective. And you're absolutely right in the fact that he's getting those reps because he can protect. He can do all that stuff. And he's the goal line back. I mean, there was even a point in time where when Damian Harris was ruled out, right, and after the injury last week, I was even considering, is Latavius Murray worth a possible fantasy spot because of the goal line back? If they get to the goal line and he goes into the end zone, that's just touchdown points right there for him. I mean, James Cook, yeah, he was a deep threat and more of a receiving back in college, right? You've seen the highlights. You're right. He's not going to get that until he knows how to effectively block in that passing offense too. So, I mean, it makes sense. It's all relative. He's got to figure it out. And I think
my advice for fantasy football with the Bills have always been this: Tyler Bass, great kicking option. The Bills defense,
except last week.
Bills defense, pretty good defense to have.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, elite quarterback. Stephon Diggs, elite receiver. Everyone else, you really don't want to count on because
Gabe Davis is up and down. You never know.
You don't know what week is who. Yeah, you don't know who's gonna have a good week and who's gonna stink up the joint. So
it's like the 49ers. You get Ayuk, Samuel. You don't know. One of them can pop, one of them doesn't. You know what I mean? When all of them are healthy, not every single one of them pop.
True, but the Niners, it feels like at least have some more consistency. Like
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's just the system they're in, though. That Shanahan
that's
system
true.
is
But
unreal.
good news is, looks like Dane Jackson's going to return.
Yes.
Dalton Kincaid's coming back. We'll talk about him in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Oliver
then
was practicing today, even though he was ruled out with cleats and a helmet. Did you see that?
yeah, that was weird. Quentin Moore, I guess maybe just getting him reps in. I don't know. They said did not practice, but he did. Oh, good that Greg Rousseau's playing. You know, I'm just saying was concerned, but like the foot injury and then him coming back, it was like, okay, is he gonna re-aggravate it? That seems like he had a solid game against the Giants. He's good to go. So Oliver and Morris is out. So Morris, I think they're just gonna call up tight end. I want to briefly talk about Kincaid. I truly believe for the Bills offense to get where they need to go,
He's got to
they need
explode.
Dalton Kincaid to be a bigger focal part of the offense. I think they need to focus more on their secondary players. And I want to say this. The reason why Stephon Diggs gets so many touches and targets and all that is because, one, he's really freaking good. Like, Stephon Diggs is really good. Like,
Unreal. Yeah.
he's the best receiver I've seen play in the Bills uniform. I mean, it's not like we've had a lot of great
No, I
options,
mean, yeah.
but it's not really particularly close.
Sammy Watkins, like that's who we're comparing him to at that point. Like,
That's true. Sammy was really underrated in the beginning of his career until
he
injuries just
was,
killed him.
and then he got
Um,
his hair got yanked on one play, and he was never the same. So
Yeah. Oh no, it was him celebrating an 80-yard touchdown
that's
when he needed
right.
90 yards instead of 80.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's bad. That was so bad.
See, that's not talking. We just get distracted by so much stupid stuff.
It's because the team has such a rough history. We could get on a tangent about the drought for hours.
That's true. We did ruin our childhoods.
Yeah,
but
tough to get into it. But go ahead. We'll stop.
tough to get in. No, you're 100% right. But he seems to me like he's going to be the first read in a lot of plays, which is great. I mean, he's open. He's really good. I do feel like earlier in the game, though, I think they need to do a better job of drawing up plays that other people are first reads. I think that would be my change, is that I think there needs to be more plays where Dalton Kincaid is the first read. Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, Deontay Hardy, Khalil Shakur. Khalil Shakur is actually, I'll give him some flowers. He's done a very good job blocking.
He has
this season. I think
for a little guy, he's pretty good at blocking. I will say that.
The receiving is pretty annoying, his production receiving wise, but blocking wise, you know, we saw kind of Gabe Davis take the jump in year 1 to year 2 as a blocker, and then he flourished late in the season catching 4 touchdown passes. So I don't know.
Was that the peak? That's the question. Was that the peak?
But I think that's the thing that needs to change in this offense is, like, you don't want to get Diggs upset with lack of targets or anything like that. And Diggs is still going to get his, and you want to make your big fella happy. But I think earlier in the game, scheming up a play for a couple other people to get them going, to get make this offense a lot more effective. Also, I think a lot of people are talking about this, and I 100% agree. I just think Gabe Davis he's solid, but I just don't think he's elite. A guy that should be playing so many, like 90% of the snaps.
We talked about that on Tuesday. I think you mentioned cut his snap count and see his production go up. You know,
Deontay Hardy's most effective season, he was mostly on the outside in New Orleans. I know he's only 5'6", but we saw him cook the guys out there. Like,
he's fast. Yeah,
I think some of those reps in passing situations need to go from Gabe Davis to Deontay Hardy. Obviously, Gabe Davis is a really good run blocker and significantly better than Hardy. So on running plays, yeah, I want Gabe Davis out there. But I think a little bit more passing plays. I think I would like to see Hardy get more outside reps. And I think I'm excited to see Kincaid. You know, we haven't seen him play in 2 weeks, and I'm truly excited to see what he's gonna do.
Well, I think that's been one of the big criticisms, right? Is the scheming other players open, right? Diggs is, you're right. He's the first read. He should be a read. He's going to be open, right? You know, he is. He's Stephon Diggs. He creates separation, aggravates defensive backs into just, you know what I mean? Like oblivion. He should still be a read, but like you said, throw to Kincaid because he can create separation too. He's a big guy. He's your yards after catch. Did you see? Okay. Little tangent, but related. Cole Beasley parted ways with the Giants. Okay. The amount of tweets I've seen saying we need Cole Beasley to come in and be a coach for Dalton Kincaid in the slot. No, we do not. Stop. I don't want Cole Beasley back on this team. Like, we need to stop. It did not do anything last year.
It's not the worst idea.
It's not the worst idea, but like, he should not be seeing game time with the receivers we have.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah. And he wouldn't be
It's
getting his number.
I feel like Josh Norman got signed to the practice squad not to play, but to be a coach.
Yeah.
He's
I guess
player coach. So I
it's
guess
like
it's
like
the
Craig
worst
Anderson's
idea.
back with the Sabres and kind of a, I guess we're the good luck charm for the Sabres, but we'll talk more about that on Tuesday.
There we go. But shifting to at Oliver being out.
Yes.
Obviously now you're down in your starting DTs. Obviously Daquan's already been obviously on IR. It's a tough task because this is a team that we talked about it. They don't have a lot of weapons that are going to beat you over the top, and they're kind of maybe dink and dunk and maybe try and run the ball. They haven't been a good offensive line all year, pass blocking or really run blocking. But we saw a game where the Patriots threw 3 passes, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just have like a 70%, 60% run rate.
Yeah.
To try and exploit that. It's going to be a big game for Jordan Phillips. It's going to be a big game for Tip Settle, Puna Ford. I think Kendall Vickers will be called up from the practice squad again. He played in Jacksonville. So it's a big game for some of those guys on that. And I'm excited to see what they do kind of with Greg Rousseau because playing a lot of 3 technique, he kind of shifts inside and passing downs at the defensive tackle position. So does Shaq Lawson. So I think that's going to be interesting to see that kind of game plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, we said, the defensive line was I guess, the last remaining full-on thing that would keep this defense in the top 5, top 10, right? With the Milano situation and losing Trey White, those are 2 key pieces for the defensive backs that you're struggling with losing. To lose Oliver is tough. He's had a great season, but I don't think it's the end of the world because you may get a lot of pressure around on the edges this year so far with McDermott's style of defense. And now, like you said, you have Greg Rousseau back, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller seeing more game action. I think that's only going to increase as we go. He wasn't necessarily on the stat sheet last game, but he was applying pressure pretty regularly in the backfield. So listen, I think it's going to be fine. Oliver will be back next week. If he was practicing today with cleats on and a helmet, after being ruled out, I think this is is it like turf toe? Did they specify what the injury is?
I don't know. I think it's a situation also that they play Thursday. So it might be a situation where
we'll sit him this week against the bum Patriots, and then we'll play him against the Bucks. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's that or it's like we don't believe he'll have a quick enough, like he won't have the turnaround to play both games.
Yeah.
And we might as well play Thursday, and then he'll have another 10 days before we had to play Cincinnati on Sunday night.
Right.
So I think that's more the situation. But yeah, I mean, this defense has played at a high level. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they stop the run and force Mac Jones some turnovers because the Bills didn't have a lot of turnovers had no turnovers last week. They had a couple forced fumbles from Trevor Lawrence 2 weeks ago. It would be nice to get them back in the forced turnover department. But talking about some keys to the game. So obviously, number 1 key: don't turn the ball over and don't do stupid field positions. I think we covered that already. I don't really need to
very much covered that.
Rehash that. Second thing, kind of already talked about it, but I'm intrigued to see the secondary weapons. We all week was to talk about Diggs. How are you going to get your secondary weapons involved? I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do that because listen, they're getting a lot of criticism, and some of it's rightfully so. I mean, some of it's with Diggs constantly being the first read in the offense, and sometimes it's a little bit of Josh not trusting his receivers. So I think that's going to be intriguing to see. Third thing is this: Dane Jackson's going to play. Dane Jackson, Christian Benford, Kyrie Irving. First time all year, all 3 of those guys are active and are going to play.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see the snap count, percentage of those 3 guys. Like, who's getting on the 100%? Is it just going to be Christian Benford and Dane Jackson? I assume those guys are going to get the starts, but are they going to be 100% mostly unless they get like banged up and they had to take some time? Or is it going to be a rotation like last year? Like last year, when Trey came back, it was a heavy rotation between Dane Jackson and Kyrie Irving. Are we going to get that again? Christian Benford kind of came in. I'm intrigued to see with those 3 DBs, what is the pecking order? Because my pecking order would be Benford, Dane Jackson,
Jackson,
Kyrie
Elam.
Elam.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I mean, we're gonna see. So
I mean,
I think
Elam, like we said, didn't have a horrible game last week, but like still the talent, not the talent difference, I should say. The difference in play is pretty evident between him and Dane Jackson being two. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
100%
Benford
agree.
spoken for himself. I mean, he's shown out. So
Some of the advanced stats on Benford are really insane.
are they?
Yeah, some of the advanced stats I've been like are really wild. Like there's a graph that shows separation
Mm-hmm.
and target percentage.
Yeah.
And obviously you want to give as little separation as possible and a low target percentage because that means you're not getting targeted. And Benford's in the top right quadrant, like the quadrant you want to be in. He's kind of by himself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's the outlier.
and Terry Johnson's up there too, like a little more to the left. And then I don't know where any other Bills corner is, but I think Dean Jackson's a little bit in the lower left, which you don't really want to be in, but that's fine.
Kyrie's probably not even on there, is he?
I don't think he has enough snaps to qualify.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
only played the 1 game or 2 games,
2
really.
games, yeah. So I think that's something to look at. I think a special teams play. I think Bill's gonna do some cheeky stuff on special teams to try and steal a possession, fake punt, onside kick. I really do think that's a high potential prospect. Also, can we get Tyler Bass bounce back? He was brutal last week,
It was rough.
and
I think Vegas called him and said, "Throw the game." Honestly, I mean, with the way, of course, the script couldn't have gone any other way. That the Bills against the Giants had 2 kicks miss wide right. The script writers had it done before it even happened. That's all I'm saying there.
No, I agree. I mean, can he bounce back? And then the fifth and the most important thing is this: can the Bills get a dominating win?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something to look at. Like the Bills, been 2 weeks since they've had a really good game. Let's be honest, they haven't played well the last 2 weeks, and they're 1-1. This is a team that you should dominate. Good teams dominate bad teams. The Bills in the past, and even this
They've
season,
dominated bad
have
teams.
dominated some bad teams. Heck, I gotta say though, Washington and Vegas are both 3-3.
I know. Yeah.
Can you
So they're not
believe
even
that?
like bad
Those
teams.
teams are not good. No, they're not good.
They're
Let's
not
be honest.
good, but they're not egregious. The Patriots are egregious. Like we should, their
Yes.
teeth should be in the pavement. Like by the time we're done with them, you know what I mean?
I think that's important to see. Are the Bills? Can they get off to that fast start? Can they make the Patriots have to throw the ball? Can they get some turnovers? Can they get a dominating road win to then go up to Thursday night at home against a solid Tampa Bay team? So I think that those are the 5 keys.
The battle of the 2018 quarterbacks drafted in the first round on Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield wants the revenge. Everyone says they would have taken Josh Allen first overall now. So he's trying to prove himself. There's some angst there, but we'll talk about that next week. No, I listen, the Patriot Bill Belichick, his you know how he wears no sleeves? His whole shirt should be off. He should lose his entire shirt by the time this is done. I mean, we're gonna take it off thread by thread. Just kick the Patriots, and his son Licky Lips doing the defense on the sideline isn't gonna know what to do with himself. That's what I have to say about this game. It's just, can they execute and can they scheme other players and Stephon Diggs open? Those are my 2 like big keys for this game, because I would love to see Dalton Kincaid absolutely just explode in this game. I would love to see Gabe Davis have a day. I'd love to see Deontay Hardy really just cook. I really would, because we've seen spurts of what he can do. We just haven't seen it consistently called in a game setting. So I think that's the big thing to look out for. The Bills are favored. Pull up my own stat sheet here by 7.5 points. So just over a touchdown. The Bills are winning this by 3 touchdowns. I mean, my score predict. I give me the Bills, 21-0. I don't think the Patriots even score. I think they get shut out. That's what I have to say about this game. What's your score prediction?
27-10 Buffalo.
Okay.
I think
you're giving the Patriots some points.
I'm giving them some points. I think it's going to be a little bit of a close game at the end of like the first quarter and a half, but I think the Bills kind of pull away, and by the end of by 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, the game's kind of going to be over. But
over under tablet smash by Bill Belichick. Over under 5. What are we thinking?
Under. Oh my God, he doesn't smash down any tablets.
I don't know. Maybe the Bills defense could disrupt. Maybe we'll see Cunningham come out and play this game.
Malik, the man.
Malik, imagine. And what if he lights a fire in that team? Yeesh.
My player of the game, though, will be Jordan Poyer. He
All-Pro
had
Poe.
his best game of the year last week, and
Yeah.
he's looked a little healthier. I
That
think he
knee
gets
doesn't
his
seem
first
to be a problem.
I think he gets his first interception of the season.
I'd love that. Love that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
My player of the game, Dalton Kincaid. He has two.
I knew, dude. We are big Dalton Kincaid fans over here.
He's on my fantasy football team. I got to root. Okay, I have to root for him. I'm playing him this week. I don't even care. Putting him in over Smith, Jonnu Smith, or whatever his name is from the Falcons. Anyway, he has 2 touchdown receptions on the day, and he's got over 100 yards receiving. I think he just explodes after that week of being in concussion protocol, and maybe Dorsey being like, okay, we're gonna scheme, we're gonna put the ball in his hands and see what happens. I think we're gonna see some big numbers out of Kincaid, and even Knox. I think we'll see some more numbers out of the tight ends. Will start receiving. I think, like Knox is being paid to do. Yeah, cooking with gas. But anyway, any lingering thoughts before we head into the slate that we picked for the week?
Shorter slate, no,
shorter slate because all the games are pig games, pretty much. So we're gonna start it off though with the Ravens taking on the Lions. Ravens are 3-point favorites currently. Give me the Lions. Hungry dog runs faster, and the Lions have looked nothing but great this season. Yeah, they've had okay-ish games, right? So maybe I shouldn't say nothing but great, but I mean, Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, that entire squad, I think beats the Ravens here, just on hard football. I don't think I think the Ravens crumble. I do. I have a feeling about this game. Only being 3-point favorites. Who's the home team?
Ravens.
Ravens are the home team. So it's really, I mean, let's be honest. This game could go either way. I'm taking the Lions.
I think the Lions. I think I'm going to take the Lions as well. I think the Ravens didn't take their bye after London, kind of like the Bills. And we talked about the Bills, how they should dominate the Giants. And then the stat about people playing the week after London are in dogfights in the fourth quarter. This is going to be another dogfight, but I don't see the Ravens pulling this one out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jared Goff. I think he gets enough done. I think they win 23-20.
Mm-hmm.
Get a big time win on the road to prove that the Lions are the top contender in the NFC.
Listen, I think they are. I really do. I think they are. I love the Lions in the NFC. Anyway, next game.
The Lions are like the Bills of the NFC.
They are. They are. I mean, everyone says the Giants are. No, that's not true. They're just poaching Bills' horrible old players.
The Giants have 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Giants have 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, 4 Super Bowls. Yeah. No, they're saying the current Giants. You understand what I'm saying? Because Dable's like
I understand what you
Bills.
said, but I'm still screw them. They have 4 Super Bowls. They could lose it.
Right. I root for the Lions unless we're playing them. So next game. Big AFC West matchup here. Chargers versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. Chargers come off a rough one last week. That fan that they think is a plug or whatever by the NFL or
lone bright spot.
Yeah, they a picture released of her in a Vikings jersey. So they're like thinking now she is a plant by the NFL. So anyway, we're not gonna get into that, but the Chiefs have been okay. Like they've been winning. Okay, they've been winning. I haven't seen anything too spectacular out of the Chiefs. I will say that. Nothing like last season where they were clearly the number one, the power ranked. The Dolphins there's a reason the Dolphins are above the Chiefs right now. And I think the Chargers need to win a game. And against a divisional opponent where things could get frisky, give me the Chargers. I'm going underdogs all the way today so far. So give me the Chargers. It'll be a close game. Give like 3 points. I think Dicker the kicker, I think he gets it done for him.
I think the Chiefs are going to win this game in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really competitive because they always play a competitive game. I think the Chargers are going to have the lead in the fourth quarter, but I think, man, I'm sorry, man. The Chargers are going to charge her.
They're going to charge her. Yeah.
They're just,
it's tough to refute that, honestly.
There's no ands, its, or buts about it. I mean, they nearly charged the Raiders win. They had to get an interception against the Vikings to nearly not charge that one away. Like, I've never, other than the Vikings, which is why they're a perfect marriage and they played each other like the most wild game ever. I've just never seen a team that consistently gets in their own way as talented as the Chargers do in any really professional sports level. So, give me the Chiefs 28-24.
Okay.
I think Mahomes hits
They come back. Yeah.
Kelsey late in the fourth quarter with
Do
all
they
the
pan to
switches.
Taylor Swift on the game-winning touchdown, you think?
No, hell yes. If he scores, I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you think they play Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift if he scores in the stadium? They blast it?
Oh, like Jeff Skinner and Soaring? No.
Okay. It's Breaking Free, first of all. And second of all, that song, okay. For a second,
No, we can't. We'll talk about this on Tuesday. That was my
we'll talk about it
bad.
on Tuesday.
My fault. I'll take
Yeah. You're
responsibility for
throwing,
that
you're
one.
throwing us all off. Okay. Next game.
I threw you a bone.
Next game. Dolphins taking on the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 3. Dolphins aren't going to beat a winning football team. Tua hasn't in like over 400 days now. So this is a big game for the Dolphins, big game for the Eagles. Eagles need to prove themselves. They've looked lackluster compared to last season, right? I mean,
I agree.
I think you have the best offensive line in the NFL and the best center in the NFL in Jason Kelsey.
Yes, sir.
The less looked at brother for whatever reason, even though the guy's played 140 straight games or whatever.
He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, come on. Like, that guy's the one they made the documentary about and highly recommend you watch it. So, Eagles take this game, not by 3, by 10. I think the Dolphins, truthfully, their defense is not good. And when you're playing the best offensive line in football, Jalen Hurts will have all day back there to make things happen. DeAndre Swift is going to have a great day. Great day. It's Hurts versus Tua, the benching, right? So that's the whole thing added on top of it. Give me the Eagles. It's revenge. Revenge.
Yeah, I think honestly that last point kind of sold me a little bit on that Eagles pick. I do think this is a Jalen Hurts. You know, he was talked about in the media about how bad. I mean, he was bad.
He was.
Really
There was
bad.
a reason
How
he
he-
got benched. Okay, I'm not
Robert
going to defend
Saleh-
that.
Robert Saleh said, I'm not talking about that. Jesus.
Oh.
About, like Robert Saleh talking about how he embarrassed him. He threw 3-ins. Obviously, with the benching as well, there's some probably motivation with that as well that he had to leave school because he couldn't beat out Tua. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles. I think it's gonna be a close game though. I think it's gonna be like a 34-31, 35-31 kind of game. I think it's gonna be a little bit high scoring because I think for the Eagles, I think they had to have the Bills' way of success, and they definitely had the defensive line of doing it. If you could win quickly with 4 and take away if you could take away Tua's first read and get pressure with 4, they're definitely vulnerable for some mistakes in that offense. That's just incredibly difficult to do. I mean, really, the Bills have been the only team, and I think the Patriots also, give them credit as well, have really been the only 2 teams that have really been able to do that. Which is why the Dolphins have the best offense in the league by a considerable margin. But I think this is a bounce back game for the Eagles, especially at home. I think Jalen Hurts wants to prove something to the fans that
Oh, yeah.
I'm still, people are talking that he was maybe the second best quarterback in football. I haven't seen that he's even been discussed as a fringe top 5 guy anymore.
I know.
So
yeah. Last year, he was leading the MVP odds for a while.
Yeah, he was 2. He was the runner up. So
yeah, like what do we talk? He's faded completely now for
he's like
some reason.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a good quarterback, but
I mean, maybe it was after that horrible Hail Mary he threw in the Super Bowl that didn't even go 50 yards.
He's still a good quarterback, but I think he's getting slightly exposed a little bit of with their offensive coordinator change. They're having offensive coordinator issues. Wow, shocker, because they don't have a lot of RPOs or quarterback runs as much as they used to. And I think he's getting a tad bit exposed in the weaknesses of his game that he needs to improve upon. But I think
the biggest thing is though?
He has a big game.
The tush push. Look at the other teams trying it, Dom. It hasn't worked. It has not worked. The Eagles have mastered it, and that's because of the best offensive line in football.
And their quarterback freaking squats 600 freaking pounds.
Yeah. What a unit. What an absolute unit.
What a man. All right.
Mortal Lock time.
Those I just quickly say we're only doing 3 games this week. Other games just suck. I'm sorry. Not a great slate.
Packers, Broncos, Jordan Love versus Russell Wilson. No. No.
Yeah, okay. So, but my Mortal Lock of the week. They killed me last week.
I'm about to pick the same one as you. I know exactly who you're going to pick.
So I can't pick the Niners and Vikings as much as I want to because I got killed last week by them. I'm going to be picking, though, the Las Vegas Raiders and at the Chicago Bears.
I like it.
And listen, it's only about a 3-point spread. Vegas is about Jimmy G. I have no idea who the Vegas quarterback is. Josh
Brian
McDaniels.
Hoyer.
Josh McDaniels, probably not the best play. But the Bears quarterback was a Division II quarterback last year. Were you gonna really expect this guy to light up the league? I mean, credit to
They
him if
still
he
have
does.
Nathan Peterman on their bench somewhere.
I don't know. I'm not picking that quarterback. I'm picking the Raiders. There's no way the Raiders can lose this quarterback. I mean, if they do it, I mean, just I don't know. I'm giving the Raiders a little bit of a surprise mortal.
Okay. Well, I kind of alluded to who I'm picking, and it's the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, they burned me
They're
last
like
week.
they're like the ex-girlfriend you just can't stop going back to, man. That's 2 weeks in
Because
a row.
it's because that system is just too good to pass up. It really is, and especially against a struggling Vikings team.
No, true. The Vikings in a dome. That
Yeah,
defense has been pretty mid. They're
like
not
give
just
me the
Jefferson.
Niners all day in that game, all day. There's no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. Niners, mortal lock. And without further ado, that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian podcast, betting on the Bills. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by Dom Lawson. Dom, how do you always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.